Today we are going to be preparing a food using yeast as an agent of fermentation. So that is going to be a pretzel dough. We're going to be letting the dough rise today, putting it together, sitting it on the counter in a plastic bag, and then letting it do its fermentation job. Process box, I want you to draw a line and do 2 halves. Day 1 is today. You need to fill that out. Day 2 you can fill out tomorrow. Day 2, more likely than not, everyone's gonna be making a portion of their own pretzel. So you'll kind of get your dough and cut it into 4, and then you'll be able to work with your own pieces. And you can make the original pretzel shape, or you can make twists or little bite-sized pieces. I'll let you decide what you want to do. When we're looking at the warm water, the hot water, we want it to be warm enough that the yeast wakes up and is not dormant anymore, but we don't want it too hot that it kills the yeast. It says that you need to sit the yeast into the water with the brown sugar for 5 minutes. So you're gonna get the largest bowl that you have, put your warm water in there, put your yeast in there, put the sugar in. The sugar is, remember, in fermentation, we're breaking sugar down. So it needs sugar in order for this process to begin. And then you're gonna be stirring in 4 cups of flour very slowly, so adding like a cup at a time. It gets tiring working that dough. It says for at least 5 minutes. The more you knead it and you're developing the gluten, the stretchier and the better your dough is going to be tomorrow when you have to work with it to shape it. Okay? Today we are doing day 2 of soft pretzels. There's a lot of toppings and a lot of different ways you can make pretzels. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, do I want salt on all of them? And there's a little bit of salt up front that's like coarser, not the fine salt, so you can get a little bit of that in an ingredient bowl if you want that. You're going to preheat the oven. It's a very high temperature. And what I saw last period was a lot of burnt bottoms. Okay, the first step of your dough says to separate it in golf ball size. The next thing is you are going to make snakes. Has anyone ever played with Play-Doh and made snakes? Okay, so you're gonna be rolling out snakes as best as you can. And there's a nice little image of this right there. You're making a very long snake. Well, you make a ribbon. Once you make a ribbon, you twist it a second time. You just twist the bottom of it, and then you can flip the top down, or you can pull the bottom up. That's how you make the classic pretzel shape. After you are done shaping your pretzels, then you go on to the baking soda portion. The baking soda is what makes a pretzel taste like a pretzel. It's also what makes a bagel, putting the bagel in the water is what makes a bagel have its chewiness. Same kind of thing with a pretzel. All your beautiful pretzels are gonna be shaped, and you're going to lift them into the water, count to 10, turn it over, count to 10, lift it out, put it on your baking tray. These pretzels grow significantly in size. They grow very large. So make sure you're giving a little bit of space between them on the tray. Okay, let's talk about the pickles. There are jars of pickles that are yours on the edge of that cart over there. I want you to open them up and decide, do you want to eat them the way they are, or do you want to deep fry them? So you're gonna have to dump the pickles into a colander and then dry them off with paper towels and then bring me them on a plate, okay? And then I will put the batter on them and deep fry them and then give them back to you. The pickles we made a couple of weeks ago. I'm just gonna put them in the batter. Sometimes I add flour to this if it looks a little thin. Just put a little bit of flour. This is basically chicken fry. It comes in a box.